level rise.
박수와 함께 트랙2의 기조 연설자분을 앞으로 모시겠습니다.
That was not a very big round of applause. Let's try again. Come on, come on, come on.
다시 한번 큰 박수 부탁드립니다.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful to be here, distinguished guests, and we will begin with a video of our floating city. Thank you for watching. Our fate as people is inseparable from the fate of the ocean. We need the ocean to sustain our planet. But the ocean is under threat. We are under threat as human beings. And this is the reason why OCEANIX, our company, together with UN Habitat and the city of Busan, have offered an innovative solution to deal with climate adaptation and the threats that we are facing. Why would anyone build a city on water, you might be asking? My own mother is asking. And there are many credible reasons, and I will be happy to share some of them with you. Coastal cities around the world have a problem because when they run out of land, they have nowhere to expand. And from UN Habitat, we learned that 3 million people are moving to cities every week, 3 million people every week. And most of these cities are coastal cities. And coastal cities have nowhere to expand so that they can meet this influx of new people, to give them shelter, food, energy, and all of the other things that cities need to provide. So this is a huge challenge. Just take a look at that image. And this challenge is now being compounded by climate change and sea level rise. Truly, coastal cities are at the forefront of climate change and sea level rise. 90% of the largest cities in the world are vulnerable to sea level rise. There's not a day, not quite a day, that's an exaggeration, but a significant period that goes by where we don't hear in the news about flooding somewhere, Florida. We've just gone through that. And this is a serious challenge. Billions worth of infrastructure around the world is being destroyed due to flooding because of sea level rise. But most importantly, human beings are being displaced because of this issue. And sea level rise is creating climate refugees around the world. And the issue of people living and being displaced from their homes is beyond just finding new shelter. They leave behind their networks, they leave behind their culture, they leave behind their livelihoods and the graves of their ancestors and everything that they have known. And often they are going to hostile places that don't necessarily welcome them. When coastal cities run out of land, often they resort to land reclamation to create new land. And this is extremely damaging to the ocean. Land reclamation really is a polite way of saying you create new land by dumping debris and sand into the ocean, decimating everything that is in the way. And often you kill the ocean at 2 points, where you get the debris that you deposit and where you deposit it. And really, it makes no sense in this environment where sea level rise is a threat, because you are ever more close to the ocean and more vulnerable. Land reclamation takes long, it's expensive, and you're susceptible to liquefaction if there's an earthquake. And this is why OCEANIX, the city of Busan, and UN Habitat are proposing floating infrastructure as a solution for climate adaptation and sustainable coastal expansion. As you can see from this picture, the city is floating above the surface of the water, and it's anchored to the seabed, so it does not float away. And on top, you have the buildings that are built. So this is a profile of what the city would look like. So essentially, we are creating new land. We are creating floating real estate for coastal cities to be able to expand sustainably onto the ocean. Because preaching that coastal cities should stop land reclamation will not stop it. Though countries are making great strides, China has banned commercial land reclamation. Citizens no longer accept this. We've seen demonstrations in Hong Kong against land reclamation, and we believe this is a viable solution to create new land. And what we are talking about is not just about technology and building floating infrastructure from a technological perspective, but this is really about redefining how human beings can create new communities to live together. You will see that on our teams, we have experts ranging from artists, sustainability experts. We've thought about the full range, and community experts. How will people live together as healthy communities, productive communities, and creating new cities where we actually know who our neighbors is versus just tall buildings where we are isolated and alone. And this is what the city looks like from the bottom. So essentially, we are learning to live in harmony with nature and with the ocean. And we came from the ocean, and we are going back to the ocean. And the closer we are to the ocean, the more we will learn to care about it. Here is, you can see that underneath, we are growing coral. We can grow coral reefs from scratch through bio rock, which is a technology that our company utilizes. And we can employ 3D ocean farming and other measures to actually regenerate the marine ecosystem wherever we are, instead of decimating it through land reclamation. And what is beautiful about this is that we can scale this innovation. Look at how much water we have on the planet. And so this is the smallest unit of an oceanic city, and this is what we call the neighborhood. It's 2 hectares, and you can have up to 300 people living on it. And 6 of these neighborhoods grow into a village. And 6 of these villages grow into a city of 10,000 people. What is also amazing about floating infrastructure, unlike building on land, is that you can reconfigure what you build because of the way that it is built and anchored to the seabed. Suppose you built a school or a hospital in a place and it no longer works for your needs, you can actually unplug the entire city. You can unplug part of the city and move the school to another position. So this is a living city that responds and listens to the need of citizens, unlike building on land where once you build, that is the way it is. And longer term, which you would not try to do every time, if really there was a reason to move the entire city somewhere, you could unplug the entire city and move it elsewhere if conditions have changed. But what this also means is that we can deploy this in emergency situations. We could tow in housing when there's an earthquake. We could tow in schools where they are needed. We could tow in hospitals where they are needed. So this is one of the things that I find very exciting about floating infrastructure. This is a vision of the world's first sustainable floating city prototype, Oceanix Busan. We are really grateful to be working together with the city of Busan to develop this and UN Habitat. We unveiled this at the UN in April, at the second UN roundtable, what this looks like. And it captivated the imagination of the world. This was covered all around the world in every major media, worthy of 250 million of media. And this is amazing, and it shows that people are paying attention to what Busan is doing, and Busan is really leading on this. And why did we choose Busan? When we had the first roundtable with the UN in April of 2019, we had an outcome that we needed to build a prototype with the city. And we debated and analyzed 10 cities that we could work with, and Busan quickly rose to the top. Number one, because Busan is a credible maritime city and has a lot of experience, a lot of naval architecture, marine engineering skills that are applicable to what we're doing. And another reason is also that has really stood in the way of developing floating infrastructure, because this is not a new idea. Smarter people than us have thought about it. But you need a government or political leadership and someone enthusiastic to champion this. And Mayor Park of Busan has really proven to be that champion for us, to be that champion not just for us, but in Busan, but for the entire world, because this is being developed for coastal cities around the world. And ultimately, also, it is really about the people, anything that you do. And Korea has a history of developing industries and dominating them around and leading. And so we felt that for a new technology such as this, under the leadership of the UN, that Korea would be the right place for us to develop this with the city of Busan. And we're so grateful for the opportunity. And these are some of the principles that we considered as we were building this city. We learned from the city of Busan itself, and sustainability and community habitat regeneration, all of these are important principles. We even learned from nature in the hexagon shape that we borrowed from the bees because of the efficiency in design. And all of our systems are closed loop and zero waste. So this means that nothing goes into the ocean. For example, if we utilize some water and it turns into that water, we can then feed to our gardens which then produce food for us. So the whole thing is closed loop. It keeps circling within. And I think that this is a beautiful way to live and a beautiful way to be. So there's a lot of emphasis on sharing as a community. And so this is a committed community that cares about living in harmony with nature and life below water. And our platforms are quite versatile. So here are the different things that you could do with the design of the platform. This is specifically focused on Busan. And there will be research, bluetech innovation and research that is going on this platform. This is very important. People will be able to live on this platform and no more families. People will also be able to visit the floating city short term. They may not be able to stay there long term, but they can come and go and share in the experience and spread the good news. And look at this. This is what a floating city or a marine city looks like. It's just like a normal city. Grandmas playing with their grandchildren, collecting flowers, gardening, nothing unusual. Beautiful people hanging out, and you can see the architecture is quite inspired by Busan and Korea. And this is what it looks like. It has the potential to grow, and Busan is leading in this. Korea is leading the world in this. Even though this is being developed in Busan and in Korea, it is a global partnership. Speaking about the theme of partnership, and truly, our team is from all around the world, from Europe, from Africa, from the United States, here in Korea, parts of Asia. And this is really exciting, and also speaks to the power of what technology can do in this era. And here we hope that this technology will move to the Middle East. Here is an application of what it might look like in the Middle East. Here is what it could look like in Africa. And this is in Europe. You can have a floating city in winter, no problem. And of course, other parts of Asia and Pacific islands are very, very critical too, because some of them are facing an existential crisis. And if we can provide floating infrastructure for them as an alternative, then this will make a tremendous difference. And I just want to end by saying that we are convinced that humanity living on water is not only inevitable, it's imminent. People are talking about going to colonize Mars and live in Mars, and we wish them luck. And we love the space guys. They make us look sane talking about living on Mars. If you look at this, you can easily see that the ocean makes up more than 71% of the planet. This is a tremendous resource. The ocean literally has everything that we need to meet our shelter needs, our energy needs, our food needs, our mobility needs. And so it is inevitable that humanity will move onto the ocean. And we want to do that and set an example with Busan of doing this in a sustainable way under the leadership of the UN and set the right example. So this is not just about printing real estate. No, this is about the future of how humanity can live together, how we can organize ourselves. Do we think that it would be an easy task? No. But no new technology has ever been easy to implement. But with the partnerships that we have and the unity that we have around the oceans, we are confident that Busan and Korea will deliver this for the world. Thank you so much for your time.
We thank you so much for the wonderful keynote speech, giving the very